sometimes they wish, sometimes they read a book so fast and when they finish it, they wishing that they would have read it slower. And that is part of that, I'm guessing. Like, I'm going from my own experiences here. I'm going from that sometimes when you finish a book, you get that emptiness. Especially, I've read a lot of fantasy, and you have a long-standing shows. Yeah, it's the same with watching shows, right? That they end and you get that empty feeling that, oh, it's over. What do I do now? Fuck. It's similar to that, I guess. I'm just assuming there. I don't want to put words in your mouth. That's the way. I'm just gonna try to get out of here. That's the way that's the feeling I can relate to anyway. Then I would argue that empty feeling, is part of what am I looking for? That empty feeling is part of the experience, and that you should embrace that experience as well. It's good for your mental health to embrace stuff that is not good. It's not mourning per se, but that feeling is similar to mourning. It's past now. Learning to live with that, and I mean, there is, even though it doesn't feel good, there is beauty in it. Oh, Stormborn Daenerys says, I'm glad you went to the toilet. It's your stream. It's all good. Oh, thanks. Oh, yeah. I meant that I didn't apologize for going to the bathroom. I apologize for the cliffhanger thing before. It felt manipulative. I don't like being manipulative. That's just... Yeah. Like, somehow valuing more time more than your time. My time more than your time. And I don't do that. Well, of course I do. Like, you value your time more than my time. Of course, everybody values their own time a little bit more than any other person's time. But, like, we behave ethically anyway, right? We respect other people's time. And that is... I felt like I didn't respect your time, and therefore I apologized. I am a she, says Stormborn Daenerys. Can we guess from the name? Daenerys. That's a she name. Didn't want to assume, though. And I know I should embrace, but I don't wanna. Well, there is no should. That's... Again, like, there is no objective morality, right? There is no... You can't derive an ought from an is. So if you don't wanna, then that's a good argument to not embrace it. I don't know. Like, if we do compare it to mourning, then what I said could be equated to embracing mourning, like embracing that moment when your parents die or whatever. And that's a kind of fucked up thing to say, so I don't like, it's different views, right? Different ways of approaching life. I'm thinking here, I was thinking there are no invalid approaches to life. I'm guessing suicide is invalid just because it's like you're dead, so you're not living anymore, so it becomes invalid in that kind of rationality. I don't know. Alright, we're loading this game. That is my argument for lots of things, says Stormborn Daenerys. Wait, what is your argument? I don't wanna? For lots of things. Just for when I can't think of a better argument. Oh, that's an interesting discussion, right? Like I said, I think you were here when I said it. It's not up to me if I like licorice or I don't. Personally, I don't like licorice, so if you put licorice in front of me, I won't eat it. That's because I don't wanna, right? That's different from what we have been talking about before. Like, I don't wanna or I wanna is as long as you don't break like a code of ethics. I would argue that that is the best argument for any behavior. I wanna, I don't wanna. Like I would argue that we put like a code of ethics to follow somewhere around there and to have that in consideration. But as long as you don't, like most ethics are about what you don't want to do against people, right? That's what ethics, don't do that, don't do this. That's almost always what ethics is about. But aside from that, all other behaviors that don't fall into that category of evaluation, the very best argument is I wanna or I don't wanna, right? It's the only argument, isn't it? What are other arguments can you think of? It's like from psychology, we have been talking quite a bit about height. I finally, because I've had a problem with height's point of view of psychology, is post hoc thinking. But I've finally some people have helped me understand better. Like any argument you would give for your behavior is, as he said, post hoc. It's the argument is created after the fact. What happened is that you wanted to do a behavior, or maybe you just did a behavior, right? As from our programming, as Node Runner have been talking about. Like our programming is that to do this, to do that, or our genetics, right? Nature and nurture. We do it because of that, and then after the fact, if someone asks us, or if we think about it, we make up an argument on the spot that just makes sense with our worldview. There's nothing bad about that. It also leads to saying that, well, I wanna or I don't wanna are great arguments. So it's not when you can't think of anything better. It is what happened, right? It is what feels good for you, and what feels good for you, do that. As long, again, as we're not in the realm of ethics. Stormborn Daenerys says, that's a cool way to think about it. When I debate, and I can't think of a good response, I say simple things like, I don't wanna. Well, I don't do a lot of debating myself, but I'm guessing that it's in a debate, you're not scoring many points with saying that, I suppose. Usually saying I haven't really viewed debates and haven't taken part of it in a long time, it feels like. So I don't really know how I have this idea of what a debate is, and within that context, someone saying I don't wanna is a good way to score points for the other person, because a debate is a competition, right? As far as I understand. Right, let's start reading as well. Interchange a little bit. Need to finish this story. It looked as if looked as if I was making excuses, and a feeling of personal pettiness enveloped me. Why should I make excuses to him? Right, so, just to reiterate what happened yesterday. So, we are the bad Semyon, and we have noticed that people are behaving differently than they normally do. And for some reason, he went to the canteen, he met that woman, Shenya, and she behaved very strangely, he thought. Almost like she was a real person. Like just for context, Stormborn Daenerys, like all the pictures we will see of people here, they are a little bit like Westworld. They are like automatons, and he has been stuck our protagonist has been stuck in eons here, living in the same summer camp with the same people, doing the same behaviors over and over and over again for thousands of years probably. But now people have started behaving differently. So now he's curious about a girl who went to this library here. Yeah, this was good. A good place to stop yesterday. Some professors say that debating is essential for philosophy. Are they saying debating, or are they saying discussion and discourse? I don't really agree, says Stormborn Daenerys. I would say that discussion is essential. Like, as we human beings work, is that we have our ideas about how the world works, right? Finding holes in those ideas is super difficult for an individual. It's super difficult for me to find holes. Like, I don't know what I don't know, right? I cannot know what I'm ignorant about, and that is super difficult for me to find those issues. So different types of discussions, like discourse or debates or like seminars, or like we're doing right now, just talking to people about these kind of things. It's way easier if you see someone else presenting their worldview. You can see where it breaks from your worldview and where you don't agree with that other person's worldview. And since you can see from another person what they are thinking, what they are doing that you don't agree with, you can inform them of your view and why it doesn't mesh with your view. So from that point of view, I would say discussion is super helpful. Super helpful indeed. Stormborn Daenerys says, discussion is good, yes. But debate is a gamified discussion. And it's not that great. Yeah. Yeah, in philosophy, I mean, it depends on your goals, right? For me personally, I'm with you, Stormborn Daenerys. I would prefer discourse, right? Discussion and developing my own worldview. In a way, I don't care about scoring points. I'm not that much into PvP, personally, like PvP games. Sometimes I enjoy it, like I can enjoy debate as well, I think. But I'm not very much into PvP. I like cooperation. Yeah, I like cooperation. But I can also imagine that there are philosophers who are very competitive. And for them, like if they have that type of personality, it might help them. That's quite interesting. I hadn't thought about it in that manner before. But for them, it might even... I mean, that is why they would go so far as to call it essential, right? Because that is how they best think. Like, how they best do that interaction is through debate, competition, rather than cooperation. That's an interesting perspective. Like we had discussions about the difference between debates and how debates are way too prevalent in today's society, like from a point of view. that drives people apart and polarize people and makes it more difficult to move forward with political strength. Yeah. And I would agree with that. But then at the same time, there are people who might have the personality type where debate is better, which is interesting. I'm just asking. What? Can't I even ask already? No, of course you can, he said nervously. Maybe she really has been a bit strange. I guess I've noticed something like that in the past couple of days. Yeah, like she has been pulled in as well. She's probably quite new. This is a new experience. She just woke up here like our protagonist, I'm guessing. Really? And how did this strangeness manifest itself? I'm not sure. She's just usually more self-confident. Or something. You think we should talk to her? I was going to say, you certainly shouldn't, but I restrained myself. You certainly shouldn't, I think he meant to say. Okay, forget it. Maybe she's just in that mood. Maybe. Oh, here we go. Lexa205 says, hey. Hello, Lexa. Nice to see you. I think I recognize that name. I think we've met before. Stormborn Daenerys says, most of my professors think that winning a debate and proving your philosophical stance is the best way of giving grades for class? Wait, what? But debates is not about proving philosophical stances. I'm from Sweden, if it's me you're asking, Lexa205. It's the southern part of Sweden. Born and raised. And living at the moment as well. It's indeed. Best way of giving grades. I mean, debates is a good way of giving grades for class, from a teacher point of view, like a professor. I mean, it depends again on the teacher. I would argue that usually it's better to grade someone from a paper that they have written. Well, it's more quality. But if you're a lazy professor, which I would be if I was a professor, having people just talking in a debate and just sitting with like a checkboard or a matrix or whatever, and just good, manage, good, bad, good, bad, good, and then you have it over with. That's from the professor's point of view. I can see the value in that, because grading sucks. It's boring, and you don't want to do it, right? So maybe they don't want to read all these teenagers' papers. Stormborn Daenerys says that winning a debate is equal to proving your stance, whether you are pro or against, at my university. Wait, proving your stance? Didn't you say you were reading philosophy? Yeah, you said philosophy, right? There's no proving in philosophy. As soon as you have proven something in philosophy, it's not philosophy anymore. It's science. Then it's science, right? That's how it works. Or am I mistaken? Right? As soon as you prove something, like any statement, any proposition, right? When that proposition is like, well, this is it, right? We know this is it. Isn't that science then? Lexa205 asks, do you play first in this game? Yeah, this is my first time, but it is this last ending. It is this very last ending. So if you don't want spoilers, be mindful. It is the final ending. Yes, that is why I don't like debate. I'm studying philosophy. Well, I mean, one could argue that one science that came out of philosophy and that is used a lot of philosophy is logic, right? We have a methodology, like putting out your premises and getting towards your conclusions and all that, like that methodology. That is, we have that down to a science, right? And then that was the attempt anyway to try to make it into math. That you don't do that in a debate either, right? I don't know. I never had any debates when I was studying philosophy, so it's a foreign world to me. Probably the debates are looking differently than what I imagine. Like because like from what I remember, it doesn't make any sense. But on the other hand, I would have to assume that the professors do have somewhat like know what they're doing. Okay, forget it. Maybe she's just in that mood. What mood? No mood. That one. Guess it. Aren't you one of our future scientists? I answered abruptly. Electronic thought for a moment, as if pondering the fate of the world, and then nodded understandingly. Okay, I spread my arms a bit and lowered my head, indicated that if he had no more business with me, then it would be better for him to get back to building robots, and to do so as soon as possible. Yeah, he's such an asshole. Of course, he was a bit slow, but this time he understood me on the first try. When Electronic left, Here we go, he's giving them names again. He's inconsistent. I sat my back again, pressed against a tree near the library in such a way so I couldn't be seen from the windows and started to think. Right, he started to think. Lexa205 says, and how do you like the game? I won't spam, don't worry. Oh! I mean, any question, anything you want to talk about, I'm happy to talk about. It's like I'm streaming to talk to people, not necessarily just to play the game. But the game, I have felt my ups and downs. Some parts I liked, some parts I didn't like. It has brought on some interesting discussions as well. It has been mostly enjoyable. It has been way too long. This ending is making me happy because it's completely different now. Everything has changed. We have a different protagonist. Stuff like that. It makes it interesting again. I feel a little bit refreshed. If that answers your question, Lexa205. Stormborn Daenerys says, I don't know how to explain it via typing. All good. I'll stop so you can continue the game. No, as I said again, there's rather like, I'm pretty sure that the title says philosophy before it says video games. Right? Yeah, philosophy and then gaming. Philosophy first, then gaming. So talking first, then. So anything you want to talk about, I'm happy to. But I understand, like, and that you can't explain it. It would take, like, explaining how that would be a lot of work, and I wouldn't put that on you. But, like, if these professors, like I said, if they have the personality that for them it's easier to think in the type of a debate, I can see that happening, right? That would be from their point of view. I could see why they would want to do it that way, and I feel for you that you would have to work in a way that is not conducive to your personality. Is that the way to put it? Ooh, a cat, says Daenerys. Stormborn Daenerys. Yes, a cat indeed. His name is Skywalker. Come over here. Oh. When Electronic left, I sat my back pressed against a tree near the library in such a way... Oh, right, we already see this. He started to think. So the cat is in the way, so I can't see the screen, so I have to look at the other screen. To be more specific, I tried to think because there were catastrophically not enough facts for a comprehensive analysis of the situation. When the wallpaper in your room changes from white to black, you can get surprised, scared. Assume that they've been recolored without you knowing. Nope, not doing that. Or get angry at the one who did that. Are you good, Skywalker? Maybe this is more fun. Can I? No. It's prettier than me, that's for sure. No, that was annoying. I would have to like hold it down, and I'm not in the mood for that. But all those are all emotions. A fact in that situation would be a note on the table saying something like, "Dear, I thought it would be better to get ready for eternity beforehand, so I changed the tone of the interior to a more fitting one." I'm confused. I don't know what he's mumbling about. But the protagonist here is a little bit crazy, so it kind of makes sense. Oh, Giria shows up. 13, 21, 23, 123. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna call you Giria and skip the numbers. Privyet. I'm guessing you're Russian? Privyet. I learned the other day. Well, I've heard it before, but it means hello, right? Privyet T, I don't know. Oh, Stormborn Daenerys says, he's a cutie. Yeah, he is a cutie. Best bod. He thinks I'm spending too much time in front of the computer. Oh, you're English. That's Giria. Oh, English like in England? Lexa 205 from Belarus. Nice. Incidentally. And it's cool that people play games from our regions, especially Everlasting Summer. Yeah, I'm gonna read more Russian books. Soon, I'm gonna read Dostoevsky. I haven't done that before. Giria is from Ukraine. Oh, nice. One of my more recently found music bands is from Ukraine. I don't know if you've heard about Ginger. I really like Ginger. And what I did have on my hands at the moment, behind me, a huge number of loops. Yep. Now the librarian's strange behavior, and ahead, uncertainty. No, not the keyboard. Alright, Miss Ayn Rand is Russian and American. I remember reading that, yeah. Miss Ayn Rand is Russian-American. Yeah, she had a rough life, I think. That kind of informs her philosophy. Ooh, could we? I mean, even if you both speak Russian, could we please keep it English in the chat? Because I can't read Russian. I'm sorry. Nodrunner comes back and says, "I'd like to interject for a moment." Oh yeah. Nodrunner says, "I'd like to interject for a moment. Earlier you said you didn't like competition, but instead cooperation." Yeah, like a personal preference. I like PvE games more than PvP games. That kind of thing. I would argue that competition is cooperation. Yeah, I mean, it depends how you frame it, right? And that is what we did in the philosophical discussion, right? Some of the philosophers find it easier to develop their philosophies in cooperation. I can see personalities work like that. And I would agree with that, with your argument fully. But he continues, if a competition doesn't result in a beneficial outcome for both parties, I would argue that it's not a competition. It's a fight, a battle. Good distinction. I hadn't done that distinction, and a very good one at that. I like that. Competition is... But like, so would you consider like a sports game a fight or a battle, something like that? Or is that a competition? Yeah, it is a competition because yeah, both parties get something out of it. Both parties have a good time. Like we play a PvP game, we do that for fun, right? And win or lose, we did have a fun time. Maybe we even learned something new. So yeah, no, that's a competition. A fight or a battle. I really like that distinction. Hadn't thought about that. Take Rocket League. Oh, it takes a video game, for example. By playing the game, it doesn't matter if we win or lose. Nope. Skywalker, not there. Nope. Take Rocket League, for example. By playing the game, it doesn't matter if I win or lose each individual match, because I'm getting better in the long term, and every competition is an opportunity to improve, as well as every competition is could be a good time, right? You get something out of it. Even if you don't improve and learn, you still have a good time, and that would be a competition, right? So what I was saying, I wasn't arguing like against competition. I think competition has value indeed. It was saying I don't like was like specifically, that's what's my personal preference I was talking about. Just like Stormborn Daenerys here has the same type of personality as me, I think. She says she agreed that you benefit from both. Like it's like they say, like in school, some people learn better from reading, others learn better from listening. It's different type of personalities. I'm feeling sorry for Stormborn Daenerys here, because she learns from the... So how do we make the distinction between discourse and debate, right? If we don't call it competition. I mean, competition is beneficial, right? But we still, like, we need the distinction about those two things as well. Like we have fights or battles or whatever, then we have competitions, and then we have collaborations. Is that it? Collaborations? Is that the word we're talking about? Actually, can we... and then we can change the last word, not to be battle or fight. We can change it to be combat. So we have combat, competition, and collaboration. That makes me happy. That makes me happy. Nodrunner says, I think a lot of anger in games comes about because people see the game as a fight and not a competition or a good time. Oh, hello, Furcha. Nice to see you again. Oh, if I remember correctly, it was you who wanted to see that on the camera, so I just moved the camera a little bit. Furcha, I remember. Competition is not very inviting, whereas cooperation is much nicer. Maybe I should grow a stronger spine, says... Wait, I didn't understand that. Stormborn Daenerys. What about the... Competition is not very inviting. Well, I mean, that feels like a context thing, right? Some competition can be inviting. Other competition may not be inviting. It depends on the people doing the inviting or exclusionary behavior, right? It's not inherent in competition, I think. Right? And I don't know, if people are excluding you and you feel excluded, it's grow a stronger spine. It feels like we would never put on the onus, like if someone is, if I'm taking it to a further extreme just to prove my point, I'm not saying that this applies to you, I'm just making a comparison here. Like if someone is bullying someone else by being exclusionary, I would not tell the person being bullied to grow a stronger spine. I would put the responsibility on the bullies to stop bullying. If that makes any sense. But I would also, of course, I mean, another way to interpret what you wrote is that a competition is like it's like you, like me, don't have the personality for it, and they shouldn't change the competition to adhere to our personality. Maybe they should have another thing on the side, like they should do both, right? To help like we're talking about professors and teachers, right? Teachers, in the best way to do it is to adapt to both types of students, I guess. Purchases. I can see you are a GNU Linux / open source nerd. Yes. Can I ask you what Linux is the easiest one for a newbie? Oh. I would, just as Node Runner do, I would suggest Manjaro. Manjaro is I'm not 100% sure it's the easiest. Probably it's one of the easier ones. What do we have here? Manjaro.org. Yeah, this free operating system for everyone. Try Manjaro by downloading. Yeah, this is what I would recommend. Just as Node Runner. This is a good recommendation for a beginner. Especially if you want to play video games. It's a good one for video games as well if you want a Linux one. Yep. Also, another benefit from this is that you have this website here. This website here, wiki archlinux.org, is it's a good wiki that where everything here works for Manjaro, almost everything at least. Also, Manjaro has its own. They have their own forum that is pretty good. Support. Yeah, they have good support pages. User guide and forums, and I don't know about the wiki. The wiki is probably fine. But yeah, Manjaro. Purchases. Okay, I will Google it. I've never heard about it. Thanks anyway. Yeah, it is easy, and it gives you the opportunity to learn more if you want to, says Node Runner. I agree. See, Stormborn Daenerys says, I'm just a nervous baby. Don't sell yourself short. You're studying at university. That takes strength. I rephrased it that I need to build up my confidence. That is a worthwhile effort. I can agree to that. Building confidence is a worthwhile effort. Like in any, like for any person, I think it's good for mental health. It's good for future opportunities. I don't know. I think it's good for people to have. Yeah. Vircha said, I've heard about Ubuntu, SUSE, Debian, Gentoo. They are rather complicated. Perhaps. I started with Ubuntu, then I went over to Manjaro. I found Manjaro to be simpler, I think. Ubuntu is, like, if you're coming from Microsoft, I think Manjaro is more easily to end up with. But Ubuntu was easy as well. It's more similar to Mac, I suppose. Whatever you do, don't start with Gentoo. It's like I've been in Linux for years and I've been thinking about Gentoo, but it's not yet. Can I flip the camera like that, perhaps? Whoops. Alright, you see the bottom of the cat, I suppose. Furchess says Manjaro has its own Office package, like LibreOffice. Yep. It supports all the Office packages for Linux. Yep. LibreOffice, OpenOffice. I don't use them myself, but I'm pretty sure if you get the normal Manjaro, it comes pre-installed. If you don't get the lightweight version, if you get the normal Manjaro version, I'm pretty sure it comes with an Office package pre-installed, if memory serves. So, what did I have in my hands at the moment? Behind me a huge number of loops. Now the librarian's strange behavior, and ahead uncertainty. Not exactly a solid basis for constructing a theories of any kind. Oh, here we go. His personality is starting to blend with regular Semians that we've been playing all these other games. Oh, and I was a master of theories. If anything. Though all that was in the past, because at some point I stopped caring completely about why exactly I'm destined to spend an eternity in this camp. Of course. In the end, you just stop caring and get on living with your life, right? You'll have to make assumptions. Purchases, okay. Thank you, Cider McTrade and Node Runner. Oh, you're very welcome. Any questions? That Node Runner is super good at Linux, and I'm a pretty alright beginner. I've spent a few years in Linux. So, any questions you might have, I don't want to put words in your mouth, Node Runner, but I think we're both happy to help out in whichever way we can. Yeah. Oh, again. And whatever I decided, this is not like me. Yeah. That is why we don't have the nameplate right here at the moment, but he has been... Hello? Are you leaving? How's it going? Sometimes he wants a little bit of attention, but it seems like he's fine for now. Node Runner says, I'm always happy to help. I had gotten that impression of you. Very helpful. Node Runner has been very helpful to me as well. Should I fix the camera again now that he's leaving? That's probably fine. And whatever I decided, this is all not like me. I don't think like that, and I probably never did. Oh, interesting. Storm Wanderer says, that's pretty cute, little nose taps. Yeah. These are cute. Yeah. Man, I love cats. It is if someone put foreign words into my head. We have seen this before. Like our other Semyon in the very end, he didn't feel like even he was controlling himself. He felt strange like that. Is that the split personality thing again? Did I stop being myself when I came to an alien world? He asks. Same question again. Node Runner says there's multiple versions of Manjaro. I can suggest a KDE Plasma version if you're already used to Windows. Oh, right. And I would suggest the XFCE if you want something lightweight. The XFCE version is the one that I used, but probably just go with KDE. I've never used KDE myself, but I hear good things. I hear good things. The grass treacherously rustled under my feet. Given my presence away, I was sneaking up to the library, trying to find out what was happening inside. Genya was sitting behind a table, staring straight ahead. Without even a thought flashed through my head. She looked bewildered, doomed maybe, like someone who was told that they have only matters of hours left to live. Yeah, she has woken up like he has woken up, right? I wish I could tell her that everything is alright and that in 5 days it'll all repeat again and then again. Oh, this is way... because he has been torturing these automatons for a long time, but now he's having empathetic reactions just because they're behaving in novel ways. How could this even be alright? It's like telling a sick man that he'll die in 5 days, but he shouldn't worry because in 7 days, after that, he'll die again. And that's the Nietzsche eternal recurrence talking again. Like that is exactly Nietzsche's eternal recurrence, right? But how could this even be alright? It's like telling a sick man that he'll die in 5 days. But don't worry, we'll do it all over again. Yeah, eternal recurrence. So Nietzsche is like his late obsession, if I remember correctly, was that come to grips with this and be happy about it. NodeRunner says there's something odd about Steam's rating system. Oh? My mod has 4 out of 5 stars. Looking at my stats, it's 98% upvoted. How does 98% equal to 4 out of 5 stars? No idea. I hadn't even noticed that it had stars. I thought it only had percentage things, the Steam system. Like, overwhelmingly positive is what I would... But then again, I haven't looked at reviews for mods, just games. They just say it overwhelmingly positive, and that is what it would say now, right? About 10 minutes have passed, but Genya never moved. Sometimes it even seemed to me that she wasn't breathing. Now I began to realize with certainty that this is not just strange. This is it. The thing that threw me into this new world. Wait, what? I just had to decide what to start with. Alright, here we go. Hello, Colgate in on tap. Nice to see you again. That is the person who can answer that question you had, NodeRunner. Mods and games have different systems, says NodeRunner. Colgate in on tap says that maybe it's 5 times the ratio. Wait, it's floor. Fuck, I don't know math. I don't know what floor means in this context. Or 5 times the ratio divided by 5. So ratio is the percent. What is floor? Floor means rounding the it's a verb. It's floor means rounding down to the next integer. I get it. Now I understand. Thank you, Colgate in on tap. Yeah, so flooring it, so rounding down pretty much, yeah. Then 5 stars becomes impossible, right? You need to have 100% upvotes. Which would be a silly system. I would agree with Node Runner then that would be a silly system. Like if you're going with 5 stars, then the 5 stars would be 80% up. Would make sense to me. I just had to decide what to start with. I could ask her head on, tell her my story. Oh, here you are. The camp leader was standing behind me. I turned around abruptly and said irritably, "What do you want?" Like always. Like always. Like I was used to. I get the feeling that like we didn't get any names here, but when we get the red names, it kind of feels like I'm not certain. It feels like that's the old personality trait, and then we move on to the newish personality trait. Node Runner says, "I think you're right. I'm guessing towards Colgate In on Tap's math, which does not surprise me at all." What are you dithering here for? Forgot that you need to get a signature in the library too. The camp leader seemed to not pay attention to the words and tone. Not like usual, but like some time long ago. Along with memories of my first appearance in this camp came the long-forgotten images of the local inhabitants. Those I had deemed to be people at the time, not just decorations. It's just, you see, I don't even want to hear it. Get it all signed before dinner. Of course, I was just going to see, then go. Olga followed me to the door with her eyes, so I didn't even have to choose what to do next. The camp leader helped. The library smelled like book dust, old Soviet furniture, and a little bit of damp. Genya was sitting and paying no attention to me, and seemed to only come to her senses when I closed the door. Node Runner says, "But it seems like the mods that have more reviews get 5 stars. How is that possible?" No idea. Well, somehow the quantity of reviews are taken into consideration. How, I couldn't tell you. Maybe file a bug report? Does Steam take bug reports? I mean, one would assume that it's not working as intended, since needing 100% positive reviews to get 5 stars seems overzealous, right? But if they take bug reports. Steam has a GitHub with issues enabled. Oh, so they do. There we go. I didn't even know that Steam was open source. But it makes sense that it is. I don't know why it wouldn't be. Excuse me. Genya was sitting and paying no attention to me, and yep, when I closed the door. Hi again. I started hesitantly. Nope. My logic doesn't pan out. It was the red name. Hi again, he said, as the red pioneer. I started hesitantly. After all, I was used to a certain behavior and communication pattern with the camp inhabitants, and it was hard to change my ways. And we're moving back to this is the red Semyon. Interesting. Node Runner says it's not open source. It is just a GitHub with issues enabled. Oh, so they haven't published anything. The GitHub itself is empty. Oh, right. Well, I'm guessing you need to have, like if you work on Valve or whatever, you probably, there is something there, but you need the permission to access it. I'm guessing. That is why they have the issues enabled, so they could integrated with their Git working environment, something like that, I suppose. I haven't worked on any developer site, so I don't really know how it works. And this camp leader didn't let me get ready either. I wish I'd strangled her with her Panama, as always. Yeah, tortured them to death usually. It seems that only mods with over 200 reviews get 5 stars. Anything less gets 4 stars. Oh, so maybe it's just a protection thing from review bombing. Like, if you only like go for 5 reviews, you could give yourself 5 reviews and get all 5 stars. They probably won't get 1 star either, but get 2 stars if they're less than 200 reviews as well then. And I mean, I could get behind that, and well, I could understand why they would do it, I suppose. Like if we're looking pragmatically at what the point of the reviews are. It's about the user, right? For the user to find... What about rates they have? Is Colgate in on tap? What do you mean Colgate in on tap? Rates? Jenny didn't answer, but kept looking at me cautiously. I kinda came to get the checklist signed, I said. Okay, give it here, he said. I can tell, only the author can see, says NodeRunner. Ah, right. She answered unemotionally. I started to fumble in my pockets and then realized, oh, there's totally something wrong happening with me. I should have gotten used to everything after all this time, and I'm behaving like a first grader. I mean, it's a rude awakening, right? If he has been here for 1,000 years and then suddenly everything changes. Like, of course you lose your footing. That happens to anyone, right? Colgate in on tap asks, how many reviews does NodeRunner's mod have? More specifically, like a first sessioner in the terms of this world. I think I lost it, I said, making an upset face. That's too bad, she replied in the same dry, uninterested voice. I froze in some kind of superstition. If I turn around and leave now, then what? But at that moment, determination came from who knows where. Colgate in on tap says, I'd like some changes if I'd been stuck for 1,000 years. Me too. Me too. I would love some changes, but I would also lose my footing. I wouldn't... Like... I lose my footing like if I have had a routine for a couple of months and then suddenly it changes. I feel a little bit, whoa, wobbly, right? But think of having this, like, the world working a certain way for 1,000 years, and then it changes. It's gotta be, like, it's what he wants, yes, but also it's gotta be, yeah, losing balance. NodeRunner says he has 79 positive and 2 negative. Wait. From that mod you showed earlier, the upscaling of the game, how did that get negative reviews? I mean, it's the same, it's just a little bit prettier. I'm curious. What could be negative about that? Maybe they had like a bug or something happening. They made the game run worse, perhaps? I don't know. Anything can happen, I suppose. Actually, I have another mod. 4 stars. 100% upvoted. 36 positive, 0 negative. Yeah, there we go. So that's it. It's top level. You need to get over a number of reviews. I mean, that's fine then. No need for any bug reports. We figured it out. Nice. Nice indeed. Can I ask you a question? What question? And really what? Don't you think you've been undersalting the food in the canteen lately? The nights have been gotten pretty cold, right? Oh, by the way, do you know that I'm an alien from the future? Are you alright? Lately, it seems like you're upset with something. Genia's face showed a glimpse of interest. But we don't know each other. Yeah, sure, it's just that I saw you yesterday and I thought I was getting more and more entangled in lies. The inability to tell the truth was driving me ever further into autism and reducing my vocabulary. Well, that's not what autism is like, so fuck you, dude. The pioneer girl said, I saw you running through the camp yesterday too, but we still don't know each other. No, we don't, but I was told about you by Slavia. Yeah, we're roommates. You're roommates with her, right? And what did she tell you? Little by little, Genia was starting to emerge from her contemplative condition. Nothing? I let out a helpless sigh and heavily sank into the chair near the door. Stormborn Daenerys says, apparently lying is equal to autism. That is weird. Yeah, I'm autistic. I hardly ever lie. I just don't do it. I don't like lying. I'm dishonest from time to time. I try not to be, but I'm not lying. Usually not. Very, very rarely. I take offense. I take offense indeed. I let out a helpless sigh and heavily sank into the chair next to the door. Outside the window, the many-voiced birds were singing their song. The crickets were chattering. Somewhere, water was splashing, and from far away was the perky sound of children laughing. Oh, children laughing, eh? Nodrunner says lying is a tool for survival. Yeah. And I am fortunate enough not to have to lie for my survival. Not yet, anyway. Well, not in the foreseeable future. I won't need to be lying for survival. Luckily, I have some places that I am, like in some context, I do need to be a little bit dishonest, but that's to be expected. You can be dishonest without lying, right? And I prefer that. I prefer that indeed. Even though I would prefer not being dishonest or not lying. I don't like it. Personal preference and all that. I don't like being lied to either, but I'm thinking that is most people's preference. We don't like when people are being dishonest or lying to us. I'm pretty sure. Some people might. Like we've had that discussion before, ignorance is bliss. My personal preference, it's always... I always want to know. I always want to know. Whatever it is. But all of that was there, beyond the walls of the library, inside of here, and only the two of us, me and Genia, or to be more precise, a girl who looks like Genia. There was no fear, but rather wonder. Let's assume that I'm not me. Who are you then? For a second, I even felt insulted that she doesn't know who I am. Why me? Oh, that me, that one, yes, that guy. Pioneers of many worlds have told legends about me. But this specific Xenia in this specific world seemed not to give a damn about who I am, and what I've been doing here, and our conversation that seemed to have started to interest her has turned into useless chatter. Yeah, that's gotta be fucked up for him as well, right? Since none of the people there are just like philosophical zombies, right? They are just automatons or whatever. So he hasn't been talking to a real person. That has gotta like turn you very narcissistic in those 1,000 years. Having someone like now, because he's having, it feels like for him it's like he's talking to a real person now. That is gotta be difficult, I think, yeah. Stormborn Daenerys asks, even if the truth is so horrible that your brain melts and you can't live life normally ever again. I mean, my worldview, it doesn't contain any words that could melt your brain. I don't think so, at least. Like, words melting a brain? Or are you talking figuratively? In that case, I don't know what that means, brain melting. Like, figuratively melting? What does that mean? Bad stuff happening, I suppose? Burning up? I mean, yeah, as I said, I didn't say I never lie. I said I prefer not to, and usually I don't. So if figuratively or even literally, if it was literally, then I would lie. I would lie indeed. Like Nodrunner says, it's a tool for survival, right? Brain melting sounds like death to me. And you can't live life normally ever again. Well, what is normal life? Is a normal life, if you have to lie every day in your normal life, then maybe it's time to strive for a new normality, is what I would think to the second part of your question there. And that is my, like, I get that in some context, like in some context, I and everybody else have to be dishonest. That's the way of life. It's not much to do about it. But we can evaluate our context that we live in and strive to change our environment, right? If the environment is such that I have to lie day in and day out, I've been in those environments. Like, I didn't have a good time in my early school years. I did not have a good time. A lot of dishonesty, a lot of lying, and I couldn't change my behavior then. And I mean, I was a kid. I didn't have the same code of ethics that I have now. I didn't have the same preferences that I did now. I was a kid. What the fuck did I know? Kids don't know shit about shit. But like, if I ended up in a similar context now as an adult where I had to lie every day, I would fucking leave that environment. I would leave that context rather than lying every day. Personal preference again, right? Stormborn Daenerys says, when always knowing the truth, would you want to know even if it was horrible? Yes. I would always want to know the horrible truth. Well, I mean, it depends. Like, there is telling the truth and there's being mean to people, right? I don't know if you saw the latest ContraPoints video. She actually hurt my feelings. I was surprised to have her hurt my feelings. But she pointed out, like, she said, she was saying that metaphysics was pointless, and that hurt my feelings because I love metaphysics, right? It's part of who I am. Just, well, no, she said discussions about metaphysics were pointless. And I mean, she was making a completely different point, and I'm taking this out of context, so it's a bit unfair of me. Wait, how was that relevant? When knowing the truth, would you want to know? Like, I lost my train of thought. Brain melts just means, she continues, that everything you have known is false or different in some way. Yeah, I would always want to know. That's my personal preference. Have you read any Lovecraft? No, I did play Bloodborne recently, if that counts. It makes more sense if you've read his stuff. No, I haven't read any Lovecraft. Queen contrasts both offended and delighted me. She's pretty cool. Yeah, she's pretty cool. Like, what was it again? Yeah, right. All right. There is being truthful towards someone, and there's being mean, right? If you think my beard is ugly, I don't know how that is possible. Let's just imagine, like, it's a thought experiment. No one could ever believe this for real. But let's imagine a fantasy world where somebody thinks that my beard is ugly. Weird, I know, just try to imagine, I know it's difficult. Then you saying, I find your beard ugly, like without any prompt, without me asking you what you think, then that is just being mean, right? That is not being truthful and telling the truth. I'm just telling the truth. No, that's not what you're doing. Then you're being mean. So, if that makes any sense. And that was the connection to the ContraPoint things, because she said that exact point, like when she's talking about her issues and whatever, and someone starts arguing, that was her point. Pointless metaphysics, instead of looking at the political issue that she was talking about, then it was just being silly, right? And that's the same, right? Someone telling me that they find my beard ugly is just being mean. Also, I don't know how. Nodrunner says, imagine you're Jewish and the Nazis are coming. Wouldn't you lie to pretend to be something? Wouldn't you lie and pretend to be something you're not if you could? Yes. Yes. Definitely. And I agree with you. I've been like, since you said like that, lying as a tool for survival, yes, I would. And I said, I would lie even in a lesser than that. Like if I was at a wedding with a friend, at a friend's wedding, and I thought that the two people just didn't, I felt that they shouldn't get married, they don't fit together, it's just gonna end in tears. And somebody asked me, what do you think about will they be happy together on the wedding? I would lie. I would say, yes, of course I think they would be happy together, right? So my threshold for lying are way lower than the Nazis are coming, right? Way lower than that. My bar for lying it's not that high. It's just a personal preference. I wouldn't want to lie, but I wouldn't want to have that question asked to me, right? I wouldn't volunteer that information, and I would lie if someone asked me point blank if that is what I thought. So I would pretend to be something that I'm not if I could, yes. Evolutionary continues, Nodrunner. Evolutionary, I think we've had to lie so often for survival that it became something we're good at. Yeah, we're pretty good at it. I guess, yeah. Nodrunner, he also continues. However, we are truth seekers. Yes. That I am more into that than I am into lying. That's my mind and my personality is very rationality focused, right? Very about truth seeking and all that. Not as much. I'm not like the social glue and building social groups. That's not my strong suit. That's not my greatest interest either. If that makes any sense. We use honesty for the sake of honesty. Yeah. And also we realize that sunlight is the best disinfectant. Wait, what? That just went off on a tangent. I didn't understand that at all. Also, we realized that sunlight is the best disinfectant. Are you talking about burning stuff? Fire? Or are you talking about actual sunlight? Because I think I have news for you. I think disinfectant is better than sunlight. I haven't looked into it, but I would guess. Would have guessed. I mean, like, context matters, right? In many contexts, honesty and being truthful is helpful, right? I'm pretty sure that I've had many times in my past since I lied so much as a kid, and I was being so dishonest as a kid because school was rough. I got into the habit. You know, as you said, I was programmed to. Then I'm trying to get out of that programming. Because that programming has, as a young adult, maybe even a teenager, I don't know when, and I can't think of any specific. Oh, well, my, like when I've had relationships, I haven't been honest about, like, failed relationships. Have been because I haven't been able to be, like, part of it. It takes two to tango and all that, but part of my relationships have failed because I haven't managed to being honest about my feelings, right? Nodrunner says you're taking it too literally. Well, who are you talking to? I'm taking everything too literally. That's what I do. If we shed light on something, aka expose the truth, it's a disinfectant, aka keeps people doing the right thing. So, disinfectant against, in this metaphor, because it is a metaphor, right? And it's still don't, like, we shed light. If we show the truth of something, we expose the truth, it disinfects, keeps people doing the right thing. Again, like, I don't agree with you that there is a right thing, right? Like in moral questions, there is no moral objectivism. So shedding light, how would that, it would help, it would keep people doing stuff that they feel that they can be honest about. I agree with that statement. If we change it to that statement, what you're saying, Nodrunner, then I agree with you. Like, shedding light and, like, the truth will out and all that. Behaving in a manner that you feel that you wouldn't need to lie about. That is something, and truth works as a disinfectant, like sunlight, shedding light on it. I suppose that works out. Stormborn Daenerys laughs, and I thought that you were referring to disinfectant that kills bacteria. Yeah, or viruses. Like, there's been a lot of talk about disinfectant recently, so my mind. Colgate In on Tap says, one friend of mine had a problem with not lying. When his wife asked him during intimate time what he was thinking, and he honestly told about Magic the Gathering decks, he was thinking about that at that moment. And that is an example. That is an example where I would prefer not to lie. Like, that is not, that is, maybe it would lead to a conflict and whatever. But my beliefs, my view of relationships and whatnot is that from me being, and that's my goal, like, because I've had failed relationships because of one reason, me being dishonest. Like, I would want to be honest in this situation. I would apologize for spacing out of that intimate. Like, I would apologize because it's. I'm sorry, I went somewhere else. I was thinking about Magic the Gathering. Let's bring back to you, or us, or what we're doing here. I would apologize, but I would also be honest, because that, like, I would want my partner to accept my mind for how it works. And sometimes, if I have the mind that starts thinking about Magic the Gathering during intimate times, I would want her to accept that, not feeling the need to hide, like hiding from the Nazis. I would not want to hide from my partner the way I would hide from the Nazis. Nodrunner says proverb: sunlight is the best disinfectant. Oh, it is a proverb. I've never heard that before. I had never heard the proverb. Usually public policy or management. Transparency about the workings of an organization prevents corruption. I hadn't heard that. It's a pretty good proverb, and I do feel that it does prevent corruption. I do agree with it. I think I haven't given enough thought about it, but it initial feeling, it feels like it makes sense to me that transparency would prevent corruptions in some manners. Yeah, I understand. From your when you said proverb, I understood it's a thing people say. It's just something I never heard before. Like, there are many proverbs I never heard before, and I guess I know tons of proverbs that you never heard before. They're all in Swedish though, so they wouldn't make any sense in this context, right? Colgate Innotab says he just doesn't know how to lie. He took distance from his Magic the Gathering hobby rather than learning to lie. Well, I would argue that his problem is not with lying. His problem is with his relationship and his partner not accepting that his mind works like that. Like, both that she expects him to lie and expects him to not getting thoughts about Magic the Gathering in an intimate situation. Those expectations of him is what I would consider the problem in that situation, not him not being able to lie. If that makes any sense, Colgate Innotab. Again, that's my personal view on it. There's no right and wrong in that question, but that is how I feel about it. Stormborn Daenerys says, damn, it is. I just looked it up, Nodrunner. I never heard about it before. Yeah. I wouldn't doubt Nodrunner. Wouldn't doubt anyone. Unless given, like, really sufficient reasons to believe they're being dishonest. But I mean, it's a good proverb, right? I like it. It's just I never heard it before. Neither had Stormborn Daenerys. The Stormborn Daenerys, who hadn't heard it, also went to the bacteria killing route, like thinking to actual disinfectant. We made the same mistake. I'm happy about that. I don't have to feel alone in my misunderstandings. It is pretty ironic that he is a professional poker player. That is pretty ironic, yes. Yes, ironic indeed. It makes it a fun story as well. Oh, what the fuck? Lunch was 40 minutes ago. How did that happen? I'm not even hungry. Well, This yeah, it's a good spot to save, I think, this specific Xenia. Holy shit. Oh man, I think I got like 3 slides in today. Too many interesting discussions today. Well, not 2 slides, but I didn't get far at all to the ending today. We had too many interesting discussions. So, we'll continue this tomorrow, I think. Maybe that is why he's good at poker, says Node-Runner. Isn't bluffing a huge part of poker? Well, bluffing is not the same as lying, is it? Bluffing is being dishonest. Or just bluffing, it's part of the game. It's not even dishonest, it's just part of the game. Maybe those... I mean, it sounds ironic, but at the same time, the actions are not equivalent. Like, I've never played Secret Hitler or any of those types of games, like Among Us. There we go. I've never played Among Us. But I wouldn't, like... I wouldn't say, oh, I prefer not to lie in Among Us. Right? I would... If I played it, like, I would probably only enjoy it with a group of... I don't know. Like, the online thing feels weird to me. Maybe it's fun, maybe it's not. But if I did play it, I would lie. Node Runner says, it might be counterintuitive. Good point indeed. None of which takes the irony away from it, does it? I don't think so. Counterintuitive stuff are usually, when we say stuff is ironic, it comes from a counterintuitive point, I think, maybe. Bluffing is done with actions, says Colgan in on tap. It is up to the others to interpret your actions. Well, actions and mannerisms, right? It's not only the action, the rational game theory action of doing the bluff. It's also what your face looks like when you do it and how well you sell. Like, it's not only an act like within game theory, that type of thing, not in real life. In real life, it's also a communication. And it's the communication part of the bluff that is, as far as I understand, the good thing. How do you interpret someone's dishonesty if they have a trouble lying? It might throw people off. Oh, I just assumed that other poker players wouldn't know him as a person, know that he had troubles lying. Maybe this whole story about him stopping Magic the Gathering and all of that, it's just an elaborate tale to make his poker game work better. Maybe this whole story is make-believe. It's him communicating and spreading that story around. Oh, he can't lie. So people lower their guards. Who knows? What I know is that I'll be back tomorrow and it's time for lunch. He didn't stop, just took some distance. Yeah, valid point. Valid point, says Colgating on tap. There's so many interesting stuff to look at, I suppose. But yeah, interesting discussions as always today. But for me, it is lunchtime. It is